Wow, immortal quotations and proverbs. Power. Power comes from sincere service. Power is little like alcohol. The faster it is consumed, the more quickly it affects the brain. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Power is ever stealing from the many to the few. He who has great power should use it lightly. Unlimited power corrupts the possessor. Power will intoxicate the best hearts as wine the strongest heads. No man is wise enough nor good enough to be trusted with unlimited power. The greater the power, the more dangerous the abuse. The appetite for unrestrained power grows with use. Our opportunities are great, but let me warn you that when power outstrips ability, we will fall on evil days. Power, like a desolating pestilence, pollutes whatever it touches. Power intoxicates man. When a man is intoxicated by alcohol, he can recover, but when intoxicated by power, he seldom recovers. Power does not corrupt man, but fools, if they get into a position of power, corrupt power. The measure of man is what he does with power. Nothing destroys authority so much as the unequal and untimely interchange of power prays too far and relax too much. Power always has to be kept in check. Power exercised in secret, especially under the cloak of national security, is doubly dangerous. Even weak men, when united, are powerful. The wrong sort of people are always in power because they would not be in power if they were not the wrong sort of people. Those in power want only to perpetuate it. Power is isolation. Isolation leads to a capricious use of power in turn. The capricious power of use of power breaks down the normal channels of communication between the leader and the people whom he leads. This ultimately means the deterioration of power and with it the capacity to sustain unity in our society. This is the problem today. Power gradually extirpates from the mind of every human incentive virtue. Prayer. Prayer needs no speech. In prayer, it is better to have a heart without words than words without a heart. Prayer changes things by changing people. The greatest prayer is patience. A prayer, in its simplest definition, is merely a wish to earn God in word. Our prayer should be for blessing in general, for God knows best what is good for us. All sincere prayers are granted. Every call is answered. There are 5 prayers, 5 times of prayers, and 5 names of prayers. The first should be truth. The second is right. The third, charity in God's name. The fourth, good intentions. The fifth, praise and glory of God. Guru Nanak. Prayer and prevent hinder no man's journey. He prays best who loves best. More things are wrought by prayer than the world think of. Prayer is a voice of faith. When the God wish to punish us, they answer our prayers. Everyone that asks receives, and he that seeks find. Common people do not pray; they only pray. Pure the words, better the prayer. We pray in your distress and in your need, what you might pray. Also in the fullness of your joy and in your days of abundance. Pray as if everything depended on God and God as if everything depended upon man. O God, if in the day of battle I forget thee, do not thou forget me. My autography will tell that I have had my fair share of the bitterest public and private experiences. They threw me into a temporary despair, but if I was able to get rid of it, it was because of prayer. Certain thoughts are prayers. There are moments when whatever be the attitude of the body, the soul is on its knees. I have been driven many times to my knees by the overwhelming conviction that I had nowhere else to go. My own wisdom and that of all about me seemed insufficient for today. Prayer, in its simplest definition, is merely a Christian God word. Prejudice is a child of ignorance. Prejudice is an opinion without judgment. Prejudice may be defined as a lazy man substitute for thinking. A prejudice is a vacuum opinion without visible means of support. Prejudice is a great level-saving device. It enables you to form an opinion without having to dig up the facts. Prejudice not be found on reason cannot be removed by argument. It is never too late to give up your prejudices. Prejudice of ignorance are more easily removed than the prejudice of interest. The first are blindly adopted, the second will be preferred. It is more difficult to disintegrate a prejudice than an atom. He that is possessed with a prejudice is possessed with the devil, and one of the worst kind of devils, for it shuts out the truth and often leads to ruinous errors. Opinions founded on prejudice are always sustained with a great violence. Common sense is a collection of prejudices acquired by age 18. Most men, when they think they are thinking, are merely rearranging their prejudice or look yellow to a jaundiced eye. The difference between a prejudice and conviction is that you can explain a conviction without being mad. He hears one half, who hears one party only. A fox should not be the jury at a goose's trial. Ignorance is less remote from truth than prejudice. A chief cause of human errors is to be found in the prejudices picked up by in childhood. The people who are most bigoted are the people who have no convictions at all. A prejudiced person will almost certainly claim he has sufficient warrant for his views. I am free of all prejudice. I hate everyone equally. Prejudice is a reason of fools. Progress. What we call progress is the exchange of one nuisance for another nuisance. Progress is a law of life. Man is not man as yet, intellectually as well as politically. The direction of all true progress is to find greater freedom. All progress is based upon the universal innate desire on the part of every organism to live beyond its income. The people who live in the past must yield to the people who live in the future, otherwise the world will begin to turn the other way around. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way, but to act that each tomorrow brings us farther than today. The European talk of progress because by the aid of a few scientific discoveries he has established a society which has mistaken comfort for civilization. Those who speak most of the progress measure it by quantity and not by quality. The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little. In the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable of one person in trying to adopt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. To make headway, improve your hair. Is it progress? If a cannibal uses knife and fork, the biggest problem in the world could have been solved when it was small. You have got to be a bully to want to stop the march of time. That is progress of a self. It is the best way of making the others progress. One step forward, two step back. It happens in the lives of individuals and it happens in the history of nations. You cannot fight against the future. Time is on the side. If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. And enunciated today, progress is simply a comparative of which we have not settled the superlative. Beautiful property. The magic of property turns sand to gold. Property has its duties as well as its rights. Property is theft. The reason why men intend to society is the preservation of their property. The instinct of ownership is fundamental in man's nature. Property is the fruit of labor. Property is desirable. It is positive good. Private property is a creature of society and is subject to the calls of that society, even to the last farthing. It is the preoccupation with possession more than anything else that prevents man from living freely and nobly. Whether we force a man's property from him by pinching his stomach or pinching his fingers makes some difference anatomically, morally, none whatsoever. For what shall I to profit a man if he should gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall man give in exchange for his soul? The moment the idea is admitted into a society where property is not as sacred as the laws of God, anarchy, and comments. The preservation of the rights of private property was the very keystone of the arch upon which all civilized governments rest. The only dependable foundation of personal liberty is the personal economic security of private property. The interest of those who own the property used in industry is that the capital should be dear than human beings cheap. In most countries, people grow fiercely possessive of their property. It is the bastion of conservatism. The man who has $500,000 in property, he has a higher interest in the government than the man who has little or no property. In every society where property exists, there will be struggle between the rich and the poor. All men are created equally, free and independent, and have certain inherent rights, among which are the enjoyment of the life and liberty with the means of acquiring and possessing property. What our generation has forgotten is that the system of private property is the most important guarantee of freedom, not only for those who own property, but scarcely less for those who do not. Quotations. Quotations, the highest compliment you can pay to an author. A quotation is a speech, article, or a book. Is like a rifle in the hands of the infantryman. It speaks with authority, by necessity, by productivity, by delight. We all quote. Every quotation contributes something to the stability or enlargement of the language. Next to the original of a good sentence, the first quoter of it. That to appreciate and use correctly a valuable maxim requires a genius. Some for renown on scraps of learning though and think they grow immortal as they go. The wisdom of the wise and the experience of the ages are perpetuated by quotation. It is a good thing for an uneducated man to read books of quotations. Stronger than an army is a quotation standing firm. The wise make proverbs and fools repeat them. Classical quotation is a barrel of literary men all over the world to be amused at what you read, what is the greatest spring of happy quotation. The devil consides scripture for his purpose. When a thing has been said and said well, have no scribble, take it and copy it. Good word, good deeds, and beautiful expression. A wise man culls from every quarter, even as a gleaner gathers ears of corn. There are two kinds of marriages where a husband puts the wife or where the wife puts the husband. Many accept me, I know it, yet I am quoted as much as they. The difference between my quotation and those of the next man is that I leave out the inverted commas. I think we must quote whenever we feel that the allusion is interesting or helpful or amusing. Reading. Make the full man. Reading is to the mind what exercises to the body. A man may as well expect to grow stronger by always eating as wiser by always reading. The art of reading is to sleep judiciously. Reading is sometimes an ingenious device for avoiding thought. There are two movies for reading a book. Motives. One that you enjoy it, the other that you can boast about it. It is well to read everything of something and something of everything. Some people read only because they are too lazy to think. My early and invisible love of reading I could not exchange for the pleasures of India. In science, read by preference the newest works. In literature, the old days, the classics. Literature is always modern. When I'm reading a book, whether wise or silly, it seems to me to be alive and talking to me on the boat. But happens to the great reader rather than the great writers who are entitled to be indeed. They pluck the fruits and are spared the trouble of rearing them. Each time we read, a seed is sown for the future. A man of the ability for the chief of its reading should select such works as he feels are beyond his own power to have produced. What can other books do for him but waste his time and augment his vanity? Some read to think, these are rare. Some to write, those are common. Some to talk, and these form the great majority. I love to lose myself in other men's minds. When I'm not talking, I'm reading. I cannot sit and think. Books think for me. Give a man a pipe he can smoke. Give a man a book he can read, and his home is bright with a calm delight, though the room is be poor indeed. A man ought to read just as inclination leads him, for what he reads is as a task will do him little good. Too much reading hinders knowledge. We think we know what we have read. Consider ourselves excused from learning it. Reason? Reason rules all things. The God plants reason in mankind. Of all his gifts, the highest. The heart has reason, of which the reason has no knowledge. Good reason must be of fools in their place to battle. He who will not reason is a bygod. He who cannot is a fool, and he who does not is a slave. The last function of reason is to recognize that there is an infinity of things which surpass it. Man must not check reason for by tradition. He must check tradition by reason. Every why has a wherefore. Reason can in general do more than blind fools. Nothing has an ugly look to us than reason when it is not on our side. Man is an animal, but an animal plus something more, the divine spark differentiating him from all the other animals, which enables him to become a marker, maker, and which we call reason. Have a reason for what you do not know. If you do, you will soon believe what is utterly against reason. If you make people think they are thinking, they will love you, but if you really make them think, they'll hate you. There might be a big difference between the good sound reasons and the reasons that sound good. Emotions have taught mankind to reason. I believe in instinct of reason when reason is right. 9 times out of 10 it is important, and when it rebels, 9 times out of 10 it is wrong. Reason and intellectuality cannot make us see the divine. It is the soul that sees. Reason is not a part of religion, because reason creates division. No valid faith can contradict anything established by reason. I reject any religious doctrine that does not appeal to reason, and it is a conflict with morality. The place of reason is higher than the place of hearts when reason makes strong actions. Religion. is behavior and not mere belief. Religion, a daughter of hope and fear, explaining to ignorance the nature of unknowable. Religion is excellence, step for keeping common people quiet. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. The religion of one seems madness of another. Men will wrangle for religion, write for it, fight for it, die for it, anything but live for it. If I had to choose a religion, the sun as the universal giver of life would be my God. Religion is the last refuge of human savagery. Religion is the conquest of fear and antidote of failure and death. We have just enough religion to make us happy, but not enough to make us love one another. A good life is the only religion. The best religion is the most tolerant. Religion is the opium of people. Religion is nothing else but love to God and man. He that hath no cross deserves no crown. The world is my country, all mankind are my brethren, and to do good is my religion. All religions are approaches to a single truth. Goodwill towards all being is a true religion. Cherish in your heart boundless goodwill to all that lives. Intellectually religious emotions are not creative but conservative. When a man is freed of religion, he has a better chance to live a normal and wholesome life. I want nothing to do with any religion concerned with keeping the masses satisfied, to live in hunger, filth, and ignorance. It is conceivable that religion may be morally useful without being intellectually sustainable. Belonging to a particular religion creates an unreligious world. It is said that a man without religion is like a horse without a revolution. Revolutions are not but about trifles, but spring from trifles. Revolutions are not made, they come. A revolution is a legality on vacation. Every revolution was first a thought in one man's mind. It's impossible to predict the time and progression of revolution. It is governed by its own more or less mysterious laws, but when it comes, it moves irresistibly. Revolutions are always rapid, inferior revolt in order that may be equal, and equals that they may be superior, such as the state of mind which creates revolutions. Too long denial of guaranteed right is sure to lead a revolution. Bloody revolution where suffering must fall upon the innocent as well as they are performed. A reform is a correction of abuses. A revolution is a transfer of power. Be not deceived. Revolutions do not go backward. The time to stop a revolution is at the beginning, not the end. History will not work if delayed by revolutionists who could at once be victorious. Every revolutionary ends by becoming either an oppressor or a heretic. Revolution is an idea that is found pioneers. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolt. So revolution is inevitable. Revolutionary movements attract the best and worst elements in a given society. The successful revolutionary is a statesman, the unsuccessful one a criminal. Every successful revolution puts on in time the roots of the tyrant which has deposed. The purity of a revolution can last a fortnight. All modern revolution has ended in a reinforcement of the power of the state. Revolution is not the uprising against pre-existing order, but the setting up of a new order contrary to the traditional one. We invented the revolution, but we don't know how to run it. Revolutions are like the most noxious dung heaps which bring it into life the noblest vegetables. Riches. Rich folk have many friends. Riches serve a wise man but a command of a fool. Riches do not delight us so much with their possession as torment us with their loss. It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Nothing is so hard for those who abound in riches as to conceive how others can be informed. The pleasures of the rich are bought with the tears of the poor. No man is rich who wants any more than he has got. No man is rich enough to buy back his past. My riches consist not in the extent of my possessions, but in the fewness of my wants. Ignorance is degrading when found in company with riches. Banks and riches are chains of gold, but still chains. A little house well filled, a little land well tilled, and a little wife well built are great riches. Man's true wealth is the wealth he gets in this world. Wealth is not his that has it, but he that enjoys it. The rich are the scum of the earth in every country. If you can actually count your money, you are not really a rich man. Rich men have no faults. Riches are gotten with pain, kept with care, and lost with grief. The rich knows not who his friend is. Misery assaults riches as lightning does the highest towers, and or as tree that is heavy laden with fruit breaks its own balls, so do riches destroy the virtue of their possessor. A man who holds up riches and enjoys them not is like an ass that carries golden pitcher. It is the wretchedness of being rich that you have to live with rich people. The man who dies rich dies disgraced. The man is the richest man, pleasures are the cheapest. We are the king, only not as rich. The only way to enrich our many, most of the foul. Science. Science has achieved more of the emancipation of masses and wisdom of sages. Science has promised us truth it has never promised us. See the peace of happiness. Science commits suicide when it adopts the great sciences of the nice knowledge. Science surpasses the old miracles of mythology. Science is vastly more stimulating to the imagination than other classes. To science teaches about all to doubt and to be ignorant. Every great advance in science has issued for a few audacity of imagination. Science is the key which unlocks for mankind the storehouse of nature. Science and art belong to the whole world, and before them vanish the barriers of nationality. Science is a systematic classification of experience. Science is nothing but perception. The whole of science is nothing more than the refinement of everything. Everyday thinking. Science must begin with myths and with the cynicism, criticism of myths. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. Science is a flickering light in our darkness, but it is but the only one we have, and woe to him who would put it out. Science is facts. Houses are made of stone, so is science made of facts, but a pile of stones is not a house, and collection of facts is not necessarily science. Science is a history of supposed theories. Science is the refusal to believe on the basis of hope. Science and humanist approaches are not competitive but supportive, and both are ultimately necessary. All science is concerned with the relationship of cause and effect. Each scientific discovery increases man's ability to predict the consequences of his action, and thus his ability to control the future and silence. Speech is silver, silence is gold. In a still tongue makes a wise head. Silence is the most perfect expression of thorn. The grievous lies often told in silence. Silence is more eloquent than words. Silence is one great art of conversation. Silence is sometimes several serious criticism. Silence is often the best answer. Silence shows consent. Silence seldom doth harm. Silence is the unbearable repartee. Keep quiet and people will think you're a philosopher. Blessed never give so creative sound as when they are empty. Blessed are they who have nothing to say and who cannot be persuaded to say it. It is a great misfortune either to have good wit, to talk well, nor enough judgment to be silent. I regret that I have spoken, never have that I have been silent. Silence helps one to suppress one's anger as perhaps nothing else does. The unspoken word never does harm. There is time of speaking and a time of being still. Even a fool, when he holds his peace, is counted wise. Silence, along with modesty, is a great aid to conversation. Silence is a safety zone of conversation. This is such a serious world that we should never speak at all unless we have something to say. Silence is as full of potential wisdom and wit as the unhewn marble of great sculpture. Silence is wisdom and gets friends. A man of few words will not really be thoughtless in his speech. He will measure every word. Silence is the ocean in which all the rivers of all ages discharge themselves. Silence is the element in which great things fashion themselves. Sleep. Sleep is the best cure for waking troubles. The sleep of a limiting man is sweet. The victorious are no other than the lazy during half of life, and for all men are like when asleep. Oh, sleep, it is a gentle thing to love. From pole to pole, 1 hour's sleep before midnight is worth 2 hours after, but sleep is the best pillow. I believe in the greatest asset a head of the state can have is the ability to get a good night's sleep. Oh, sleep, oh, gentle sleep, nature's soft nurse. Oh, wonderful is death and his brother sleep. Leave your bed upon your first decision of sleep, it being ill for the eyes to read lying, or and worse for the mind to be idle, since the head reading the laziness is commonly a cage of unclean thoughts. Sleep, rest of nature. Oh, sleep, gentle of the divinities, peace of the soul. Those at the present scared disappears, who soothes the heart, wearied with daily employment, and makes them strong against forever. Sleep is a death who makes me try by sleeping what it is to die, and as gently lay my head on a grave as now on my bed, preserve me from unreasonable and immortal sleep. 5 hours sleep the trapper, 7 a scholar, 8 a merchant, and 11 every maid. While beds at all painful which sleep, sleepless themselves to give their readers sleep. Blessings on him, his person invented sleep. Up, sluggard, and rest not life, and the day will be sleeping enough. Nay, I'll lay me deep down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Soul. The eyes are the windows of the soul. Real beauty is the beauty of the soul. The only soul a man must have is his own soul, is not where he lives, but where it loves. The force of arms is powerless when matched against the force of the love of the soul. As we throw away our old worn out garments and put on the new ones, so the living soul, after using the body, which is the gross physical garment, throws it away when it is worn out and dons a new one. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Self is the only prison that can ever bind the soul. Let the sacred flame of the divine fire shine brightly in your souls. May your inner soul be the fountainhead of the divine light. What is regarded as soul is another manifestation of the consciousness of the body of the living thing. The soul pervades the body and God pervades the soul. May your soul attain fulfillment before it leaves the earthly body. Look upon all the animate beings as your bosom friends, for in all of them there resides one soul. The restless and the human soul is only journeying to me to find out the truth. The windows of my soul I throw wide open to the sun. I charge to keep I have a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save and fit for the sky. Awake my soul, and with the sun the living stages of beauty run. Confession is good for the soul, a little body doth often harm the great soul. This is the technique of the soul, the individual must die so that the nation is led. And all can we have the principle of determination towards the name of the soul is given. Speech. The true use of speech is not so much to express our wants as to conceal them. Speech is civilization itself, the word, even the most contradictious words, preserves contact. It is silence which isolates. The speech is of time, silence is of eternity. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Speech without the backing of experience, based on action, will lack chastity and refinement. Blessed is the man who, having nothing to say, has absence from giving us worthy evidence of the fact. His speech is index of the mind. His speech is like a love affair. Any fool can start one, but to end it tightly requires considerable skill. And it is remarkable that they talk most to who have the least to say. Let your speech be short, comprehending much in few words, but be as one that knoweth and yet hold his tongue. Talking and eloquence are not the same. To speak and to speak well are two different things. The most precious thing in speech are the pauses. Save your breath to cool your porridge. Words may be false and full of art. Sighs are natural language of the heart. Hear much, speak little. That which is repeated too often becomes insipid and tedious. Every man has the right to utter what he thinks to be the truth, and every other man has a right to knock him down for it. As the vessel is known by the sound whether it is cracked or not, so men are proved by their speeches whether they are wise or foolish. One would be free from anguish and bitter language should speak only true and sweet words and avoid talkativeness. One should speak neither more nor less than what is necessary. Let no one be willing to speak ill of the absent. A speech is a gift of all, but the thought of few. Speech is power. Speech is to persuade, to convert, to compel. A printed speech is like a dried flower. The substance indeed is there, but the color is fading up of being gone. Beautiful success. Success is countless sweetest, but those who never succeed. Success is the realization of the estimate you place upon yourself. Success treats on every right step. Success is the sole earthly judgment of right and wrong. The secret of success is constancy of purpose. Success is a public affair, failure is a private funeral. Men are born to success, not to fame. Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. Nothing succeeds like success. I have learned that success is to be measured not as much by the position that one has reached in life, but as by the obstacles which has to overcome while trying to succeed. As is the case in all the branches of art, success depends in a very large measure upon individual initiative and exertion and cannot be achieved except by dint of hard work. The only place where success comes before work is dictionary. There are no gains without pains. Victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an often. Success is a journey, not a destination. Success has made failure of many men. 6 essential qualities that are key to success: sincerity, personal integrity, humility, courtesy, wisdom, clarity, charity. We have reached the pinnacle of success as soon as it becomes uninterested in money, compliments, and publicity. I have always observed that to succeed in the world, one should appear like a fool and but be wise. To climb steep hills requires slow pace at first. Nothing is harder on our laurels than resting on them. Successful minds work like a gimlet to a single point. Success is often the result of taking a mistake in the right direction. Either do not attempt at all or go through with it. Teaching. The first principle of true teaching is that nothing can be taught. To teach is to learn twice. To know how to suggest is the art of teaching. You cannot teach old dogs new tricks. You cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him to find it within one himself. A teacher who's attempting to teach without inspiring the pupil with the desire to learn is hammering on cold iron. In teaching, there should be no class distinction. To be good is noble, but to teach others how to be good is nobler and less trouble. The object of teaching is the child is to enable him to get along without his teacher. A teacher affects eternity. No one can tell where his influence stops. I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. The art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery, teaching others, teach yourself. In teaching, it is the method and not the content that is the message, the drawing out, not the pumping in. You can teach a student a lesson for a day, but if you can teach him to learn by creating curiosity, he will continue the learning process as long as he lives. The mediocre teacher tells, a good teacher explains, a superior teacher demonstrates, a great teacher inspires. The job of a teacher is to excite the young, a boundless sense of curiosity about life, so that the growing child shall come apprehended with an excitement tempered by awe and wonder. The true aim of everyone who aspires to be a teacher should be not to impart his own opinions but to minds. A good teacher must know how to arouse the interest of the people in the field of study for which he is responsible. He must himself be a master and a human being. So the religious developments in his subject, he must himself be well absorbed in the exciting pursuit of knowledge. One good schoolmaster is worth 1,000 tears. Tears are summer showers to the soul. For beauty's tears are lovelier than her smile. Tears are the silent language of grief. It is some relief to weep. Grief is satisfied and carried off by tears. Nothing dries sooner than a tear. Only they have to weep bitter tears who know what has come to them is the result of their foolish conduct, their ignorant way, their want of proper understanding of life and what love means. Never a tear dims the eye. That time and patience will not dry. Every tear for every eye becomes a bed in eternity. If you would have me weep, you must feel grief yourself. Tears, idle tears, I know not what they mean. Tears from the depth of some divine despair rise in the heart and gather to the eyes and looking forward on the happy autumn fields and thinking of the days that are no more. That very law which molds a tear and brings a trickle from its source, that law preserves the earth as fair and guides the planets in the course. It is the tear of the earth that keeps us smiles and blown. If you shed tears when you miss the sun, you also miss the stars. Who had none to still him make weep out his eyes. If folly were grief, every house would weep. The busy have no time for tears. Heavy house, like heavy clouds in the sky, are best relieved by the letting of water. Tears are the safety walls of the heart that when too much pressure is laid on it. Love is loveliest when embalmed in tears. And those tender tears always humanize the soul. Tearless grief bleeds inwardly. The tear of joy is a pearl of the first water, the morning tears only of the second. Thoughts. A man is but a product of his thoughts. What he thinks is that he becomes. It is thought and thought alone that divides the right from wrong. It is thought and thought alone that elevates or degrades human deeds and desires. Thoughts come back, belief passes, facts pass by, never to return. Great thoughts reduced to practice become great acts. Thought which is not meant to lead to action has been called an abortion. Action which is not based on thought is choice and confusion. The great events of an age are to its best thought, though finds its way into action. There are never alone that are accompanied with noble thoughts. Let noble thoughts come to us from all sides. Be not a traitor in your thoughts. Be sincere, act according to your thoughts, and you shall surely succeed. every good thought you think is contributing is shared to the ultimate result of your life. Change your thoughts and you change your world. Remember, happiness doesn't depend upon what you are or what you have. It depends solely upon what you think. Time given to thoughts is the greatest time saver of all. We are all men think alike. No one thinks very much. People should think things out fresh and not just accept conventional terms and conventional way of doing things. Learning without thought is labeled as the mind grows by what it feeds on. Great thoughts come from the heart. Hide not your thoughts. It is a shameful to reveal them. It is more shameful to think them. Thinking is the hardest art there is, which is the probably reason why so few engage in it. Thinking is easy, acting is difficult, and to put one thought into action is the most difficult thing in the world. Man is but to read the weakest in nature, but he is a thinking creed. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither your ways, my ways. Time. God made time, man made has. Time is money. I recommend you to take care of your minutes, for the others will take care of themselves. Time and tide wait for no man. Time past cannot be recalled. Time tries all things. There is a time and place for everything. To choose time is to save time. Take a great healer. Time is a great healer. Time is a great teacher, but unfortunately it kills all his pupils. Men talk of killing time while time quietly kills them. Do not squander time, for that is the stuff life is made of. A stitch in time says 9. A bird of time has put but a little way to flutter, and the bird is on the wing. An age builds up cities and never destroys them. Make use of time, let not advantage slip. Lose an hour in the morning and you will be looking for the rest of the day. Time is the rod that cuts the thread of life. For where I wasted time and not dot time best me. Time goes, you say, I know. Alas, time stays, we go. Time is a circus, always backing up and moving away. I stand on a busy corner, a hat in hand, and beg people to throw me all their wasted hours. Nothing really belongs to us but time, which even he has who has nothing else. Time swallows up everything that is visible. Sparing nothing, it does not spare even outstanding personalities. I learned to work in the mornings that I could skim the cream of the day and then use the rest of cheese making. For cheese making. Ordinary people think merely how they will spend their time. A man of intellect tries to use it. Truth. Truth is mighty and will prevail. Truth is the most valuable thing we have. Let us economize it. Truth is the foundation of real spirituality, and the courage is its soul. Be more eager for truth than for success. Truth is the first catalyst to more. Truth is precious, but truth is more precious than time. My way of joking is because the truth is a funny joking world. Truth belongs to no country. Every violation of truth is established at the health of the human society. Truth and rules have thought about them. The greatest friend of truth is time. Her greatest enemy is prejudice and constant companions is humility. Truth makes the devil blush. Truth is supposed to be of the dying man. It takes two to speak the truth, one to speak and another to hear. Truth is no road to fortune. Truth is strengthened by observation and delay, falsehood by haste and uncertainty. It is strange but true. For truth is always strange, stranger than fiction. Truth requires as much of strength to give as to receive. Life is perennial search for truth. Truth is simple and easy. Falsehood is devious. It would well be the cause of destruction. Truth is like the sun. No human being can ever look straight in the face without blinking or being dazed. Truth is a jewel which should not be painted over, but it may be set to advantage and shown in a good light. A harmful truth is better than a useful lie. Truth is always the strongest argument. One cannot reach truth, but by untruthfulness. Truthful conduct alone can reach truth. A half-truth one for ourselves is worth more than a whole truth learned from others. Victory. Victories that are easy are cheap. Those only are worth having, which comes as a result of hard fighting. It is the contest that delight is not the victory. We are pleased with the combat of animals, but not with the victor. Cheering the vanquished, what is sought for is the crisis of victory, and in an instant it comes, it brings satiety. Nothing except a battle lost can be half so melancholy as a battle won. How beautiful is victory, but how dear. There are some defeats more triumphant than victories. There is nothing so dreadful as a great victory except a great defeat. Without victory, there is no survival. Victory has 100 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. Victory has 100 memory, but defeat has amnesia. In war, there is no substitute for victory. We triumph without glory when we conquer without danger. The most important thing in the Olympic Games is not winning but taking part. The essential thing in life is not conquering but fighting well. Winning isn't everything but wanting to win. And for Wayne, the one great sorcerer game to write against your name, he marks not that you won or lost, but how you played the game. Who overcomes by force hath overcome, but half is four. Even victors of a victory and the winning. Then nothing has to be vanquished and yet not surrender. That's victory. Better to win peace than a fat victory. Be ashamed to die until you have won some form, some victory or for humanity. Winning is over emphasized. The only time this really important is in surgery and war. I always say that next to the battle lost, the greatest mystery is the battle gained. Such and the victory, and we are doing the smile of the God is victory. Our victory is twice itself when the achiever brings home full members. Virtue is more clearly shown in our performance of fine actions than in the non-performance of base ones. Good company and good discourse are the very sinews of virtue. When we are planning for posterity, we ought to remember that virtue is not hereditary. Virtue and sins are eternally bound together in human body, and this is perishable. Power and self will disappear, but the virtue of a great name will live forever. It is virtue and not birth that makes us noble. The greatest virtue of man is perhaps curiosity. Virtue is its own reward. Virtue perhaps is nothing more than politeness of the soul. Virtue is learned at the mother's knee, wise at other joints. Be virtuous and you'll be centric. Recommend to your children virtue that alone can make them happy, not cold. I believe that virtue shows quite as well in rags and patches as she does in purple and fine linen. Virtue is an angel, but she's a blind one, and must ask of knowledge to show her the pathway that leads to her goal. Virtue is health, vice is sickness. Virtue consists not in abstaining from vice, but is not desiring it. Virtue is the first title of nobility. Virtue and happiness are mother and daughter. This is the law of God, that only virtue is firm and cannot be shaken by a tempest. Virgin of men and on the earth famous, in the grace illustrious, in the heavens immortal. Virtue is more persecuted by the wicked than encouraged by the good. Virtue all agree, but vices fight one another. The greatest offense against virtue is to speak ill of it. Virtue being supreme in the world, virtue is entwined with truth. War. What is the business of barbarians? War is a dangerous teacher, and physical victory leads often to a moral defeat. It is always easy to begin a war, but very difficult to stop one, since its beginning and end are not under the control of the same man. War is a science of destruction. The sense of war is violence. Moderation in war is imbecility. There never was a good war or a bad peace. War is as much a punishment to the punisher as to the sufferer. Modern warfare is an intricate business about which no one knows everything and few know very much. There is no such thing as an inevitable war. If wars comes, it will be from failure to human wisdom. War is a greatest plague that can afflict humanity. It destroys religion, it destroys states, it destroys families, and needs